Hello, everyone. How's it going? And Vitam. We are live with the Highlander Nations Cup semifinals. It is USA versus England. This is a hype one for sure. I am Gray. I am joined today by Tcmano. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Very excited to see some Highlander action as they battle out for the Nations Cup victory trophy or whatever is going to be going on here. But yeah, Team USA versus Poland. And I'm going to take your word on the hypeness factor because, I know a few of these players on Team USA, kind of a little bit of a stacked roster, the best of the best from each nation representing and trying to duke it out. So very excited to see how they do. And then over on Poland, a little bit unknown to me as a burger, mostly only concerned with sixes. So I'm very excited to see what goes on here and see if they're going to be able to take it to Team USA. Hoorah! But I mean, before we get too into things, you're a little bit more knowledgeable about what's going on here, Gray. I guess give us a little bit of rundown of the teams and maybe some early predictions, or how do you think this map specifically is going to play out?
Well, we're starting off on Vigil, which, especially on payload, I would say North America teams are going to have a little bit more of a better chance just based on ping and how much more King of the Hill is going to rely on like just raw DM skills. And for all of the Americans having 100 plus ping, it is very hard to have like exceptional DM with those conditions. So I think payload you can rely a little bit more on kind of team strategy, which I think USA can really thrive on, especially with their core roster. As we are getting started here, just quickly over rosters, by the way, for Team US, it is Blank on Scout, Joey Lemons on Soldier, Melon on Pyro, DT on Demo, Triple on Heavy, Hyphen on NG, Blake on Medic, Lenny on Sniper, and Jacob on Spy.
Then over on
go ahead,
no worries. Over on Poland, you've got Sam on Scout, Black on Soldier, Masuj on Pyro. Don't know if I'm saying that one right. Alav on Demo. You've got Elysianer on Heavy, K-Cam on Engineer, Gio on Medic, Scrimus on Sniper, and Unforgiven on Spy. And the one thing I did ask you beforehand, I was trying to get myself situated with what's going on here, is like who are the players to look out for, and you just posted a log of Scrimus going absolutely huge. So I think definitely a player to look out for. If you're like me and you don't really know maybe some of these Poland players, or you don't know a lot about Highlander, definitely look out for Scrimus, because if he does what he did in that log you showed me, Gray, we are going to be in for a treat.
Indeed, and that log I showed you was against the USA B team just yesterday, and Scrimus, I believe, was 46 kills, and the next highest was like 17. So Scrimus certainly showing that he has the skill. As we are getting underway here, Poland are going to be starting with just getting a bit of cart time, keeping their men in spawn, pretty standard stuff. They're working Scrimus up onto hill right away, want to get something, but Lenny immediately gets the kill onto Scrimus. Great start. And we see Poland here, maybe not used to the Fourthwall as much, but they actually do get the force, and that is going to be huge as Blake using the Uber as best he can, but now USA in full Uber disadvantage. They're looking like they want to be ready to back out.
Now, it seems like they are going to back out just a little bit as they just try and take a little bit of ground. You see Sam playing the cart, trying to eat good forward. They're kind of set up over on the left. Hasn't been taken down. DT with a nice little pick onto Sam just to slow things down even more. Get that scout off the cart, that 2x cap speed. Not going to be at Poland's advantage as their little sentry gun gets taken down. They're taking the high ground onto the hill. They're going to be pumping in. Alav goes sky high. Manages to get flash and doesn't die. The fall damage, that is absolutely so huge that they keep their demo up there. And now he's going to be able to turn around, try and take down the sentry gun. Finally, Scrimus can be able to body shot it down. And that was maybe a little bit of too exciting of an Uber for Poland, but does get the job done. But they have to try and take this ground because immediately you can already see Hyphen rebuilding up that engineer nest.
For sure, and I got to shout out Unforgiven for getting the pick onto Blake there and evening out the Uber situation. USA maybe building a little bit better right now, but it seems like USA actually wants to stabilize on this. Something I will note as well, by the way, is that this kind of forward hold that we've seen has really not been too popular until the last couple years. And I think that, especially, I'm not sure how the EU meta is, but teams can really struggle to do this push. It seems like finally Poland getting a bit of space here as US are starting to back their way out through tunnel and onto the second point. But Ooh, actually, as I say that though, USA maybe want to regress here, counting their Ubers and realizing that, hey, maybe they have slight advantage here and they could take it in, or that they at least can try to, work a little space with their sniper as they are protecting Lenny pretty hard here. Their combo's taking a lot of damage though, but it doesn't matter because Jacob's getting a kill onto Alov and then, onto, I didn't see who it was actually, I think it was Unforgiven, but then there are a couple more kills coming in, but it doesn't seem like it's enough, and USA just wants to back up onto the second point. So that is going to be I would say, above average time, 2:23 on the first point for Poland.
Well, that's going to be pretty good for Team USA then if it's above average. But have they given themselves enough time to set up on the hill? The Uber is going to be coming out over on the low ground. They don't really get too much space. Alov does find one pick, but they don't get much space to go with it. They're going to be able to push the cart out until it opens up here as they try and work all the way through this little tunnel area. They're getting a good amount of picks. Actually, Blake going down is going to be very, very helpful to Team Poland. That's going to be no heal, so all damage is permanent for the meantime. Alov trying to peek the sentry gun is going to be able to get it down, and now there's no one really here on this hill to deny them. You see the engineer teleporting back to spawn to be able to stay alive, and if that first point was a little bit slow, this second point very, very quick from Poland.
For sure, that was a fantastic push from Poland, especially in that side tunnel area. It can be very difficult to push if the enemy's expecting it, but I think Poland played it very well, recognizing that Jacob was not alive to spot the combo, and they just took that quick rotation around, and USA were just too late to react. As we see, Poland here now working their way onto the flank in the locker room area. Lenny peeking very aggro, trying to get a shot off. Isn't going to get anything just yet.
Triple in the spot to try and do that little heavy head peeking thing that is so annoying anytime I've ever played this map in a pub, just having heavies pull that one out and then you're kind of taken off guard. But Uber going to be coming out from Alov and the rest of Poland. They're going to be able to do a lot. Masuj on the pyro helps take down that hiding heavy, and it seems like they're making really great time and progress, getting a lot of space. They should be able to capture this one up. Joey Lemons trying to go for a bomb, gets kind of locked up into the sky, not able to make anything happen. And it seems like maybe that first point, it kind of kept them on the ropes a little bit, but after that, they've kind of been steamrolling their way through Poland, taking another point.
For sure, and 4:06, I would say that's much more up to standard time. Thinking that they spent more than half of that time on the first point is probably not how you'd expect. And I mean, USA, the one thing they have now is full Uber advantage, so at least Poland can't take this super quickly. We'll see if they want to go for like a sack or something, but USA set up pretty well here. They are going to lose Triple, who I think was backing out a little bit late, or maybe just overextended a little bit in Red Room, as we see Scrims trying to work his way into Big Door. The sack comes in now, and that is going to be a force from Blake, as Alov and Black are going down, as well as Unforgiven. And now Poland, with full Uber advantage, they are going to want to take this in and take it aggressively.
All eyes as someone on Team USA to maybe try and get that pick up onto Shower, just kind of get enough picks that taking the Uber at least right away isn't going to be worth it for Poland. Otherwise, they're in a really good position to take a lot of ground here and maybe get the round. Jacob going to be able to find a pick onto K-Cam, and that's not necessarily the pick that they need, but anything is going to help. Unforgiven also going down means that there's no spy that they have to worry about as this Uber does come in. They're getting a lot of ground. They take down all of the Engineer's weapons, and they are trying to get on the Triple over on that high ground, managing to stay alive somehow, just kind of playing the ring around the rosy, but it seems like they're managing to hold on as this push has immediately collapsed. Poland all falling, and somehow Team USA might be able to hold on to it if they're able to get onto the cart. Sam and KKM playing it, they might cap it, and they do 5:38.
Like you said, it was such a ring around the rosy. I mean, I think USA had a great idea with that re-aggression, especially with Joey Lemons that was able to get a couple kills, but then Poland kind of just knew, like, I don't know if they expected it, but they essentially just like stood back a little bit, waited for the regress to come in from that Big Door area, and then essentially regressed on the regress. And like you said, it just created a ring around the rosy effect. And I think that was why Poland was able to capitalize. They just did such a good job of it, as well as keeping cart time, but also just keeping tabs on where USA were keeping their players. And now with 5:38, I would say that's slightly above average time here. So I'm very curious to see how USA want to react to this relatively short time.
We will have to see. I can see what you're saying because in kind of comparison to what we saw in the first round, Team Poland not going for that forward hold. You can see K-Camu's building, I guess, in what's more the traditional spot, at least for Europe, unless I'm misreading this. And he's actually, no, he's going to go teleport out. And actually, no, he's still not going to be as forward as they were. I think, on Team USA, not necessarily as set up. So a little bit of a difference in play style there. Gonna be interested to see how that works in maybe Team USA's favor.
For sure. I would say that's definitely the more traditional passive hold, but with that being said, KCAM does have a very aggressive gun, probably going to be playing for the Rescue Ranger pull, and I really like spots like these that are just super annoying and just catch you off guard, and as an engineer player, that is certainly kind of my playstyle on this map. And yeah, there comes the gun pull, just wanting to keep it alive. And now USA are trying to just work their way up slowly, make sure they spot that that Poland's not in fort hold. But it's going to be tough as Scrimus gets the pick onto Lenny. That is a great start. And now Scrimus with full control on the cart is going to be very tough to push without having to peek that sniper sight line. USA are wisely backing off, not getting any more picks taken off. But actually, as I say that, Scrimus gets the shot onto Melon. Here comes a high bomb in from Joey Lemons, trying to get something. Does get the trade onto Black, but Scrimus still trying to peek wide, get whatever shot he can. We see Jacob going for a decloak, sees if he can go for something, but Joey Lemons gets shot again by Scrimus. Great shots, and USA finally starting to cap this point. It is going to be much faster than Poland as they are backing out, but now USA with 4 minutes 40, can they do it?
4 minutes 40. Sure, this first point is a little bit faster, like you said, than Poland, but every other point after this was so quick from Poland, so they have to keep up the aggression. Immediately, JW does get one onto a Legionnaire, the heavy taken down. That's going to be pretty good triple, a little bit more space to play with. Sam rushing in, tries to find the picks. Masuj doing well to protect his medic, getting that pick off onto the spy, as they're getting some good cap time and gap pressure, but the real struggle is going to come in once they get into this open area, as it seems like they're trying to take some space. They do have the Uber to come in, but Xiao has his as well, is going to use in response, and they're not really getting too much space. Team USA it seems like Poland have good control of the high ground, at least for the meantime.
So I will say I actually really like this play from US, is they're playing for the post fight more than anything else, as here comes the shove through, and there's so much damage from Joey Lemon's rockets. He is getting in, gets the combo to force all the way back, and it's just a Legionnaire trying to hold it down. Blank gets the kill to finish it off, and that is the point capped. 3 minutes 40 left to go. USA are still wanting to keep this aggressive. They're so far up with DT, just putting stickies down, trying to do whatever he can to keep this space for US as they're pushing the payload up.
Pushing the payloads up. You already see Triple trying to just maybe see where things are, as they're getting a lot of ground for free here. Everyone in Poland kind of locked up over towards this spawn, just trying to protect this area. As you can see, Melon, a little bit of reflect battling going on, just reflecting those rockets back to try and give his sniper some space to try and go for some type of peek, at least for the meantime. But they're slowly working their way up. Here comes the Uber coming in, getting some good damage. They get the counterforce out from Team Poland. They haven't lost anyone just quite yet, as a Legionnaire kind of going off.
Black. Excuse me for cutting you off.
No, go for it.
We actually see this refight now as Triple working very far up on the tracks. The pick is going to come off onto Legionnaire as well, so it's just a matter of cart time now, especially with A-Log going down as well. Cart time is all that matters, and USA are recognizing that very well, just getting the cart all the way up. The gun is the only thing denying them right now, but it is up the hill, and now is going to be going across the point and securing that third point for US. And now they're looking to continue their aggression. DT playing very aggro up with Lenny right on his back. They're shooting this gun down right away. Poland trying to go aggressive on the flank. Joey Lemons goes in for the sniper immediately, almost gets the medic, does finish off Scrimus, but Xiao was able to live there. Jacob, though, with the stab onto a Legionnaire, and now USA playing so aggressively in this upper choke point here.
Oh, Unforgiven going in is going to get spotted out. He does take down the sniper, but it was not able to get the tasty treat of the medic. And Team Poland starting to get a little bit of ground here. They're kind of locked over in spawn, but they're getting a bit more space to work with and trying to get their defensive set up. Some good picks onto Triple and Melon are going to buy them a lot of space and a bit more time to really hold on to this 1 minute 40 for Team USA to try and beat Poland's time. And they've got some good space to work with. It is going to be even Uber, so they're not going to have that advantage as they immediately roll in. They do get the counterforce out from Team Poland. Masuj just air blasting everyone out, kind of traps DT up against a wall, but he's going to be able to make his way back towards the team. As it seems for the moment, Team USA either going to have to try and get some type of Uber advantage, or they're just going to have to try to play this post-fight very well.
For sure, and at the very least, they killed the sentry. But, well, actually, as I say that, KCAM is so quick to get it back up, but it doesn't matter. Hyphen with the crits. There's so much damage going on point. And Blank down with another kill. Black tries to clean it up, gets the battalions off as well. And here comes the crits back in from KCAM, getting so much damage off, trying to kill the sentry. KCAM with the crits still trying to deny the point, but there's so much point time with time. And Blank getting on the cart. KCAM has tried to touch it, but they can't. And that is going to be the round in US's favor.
Very, very hype stuff at the end there from USA, getting a bunch of kills in Poland, managing to just barely respond, but it wasn't enough. That is going to be Team USA winning that first round of Vigil. And your prediction early on about what would favor who, the payloads maybe being a little bit not in the favor of Team USA, but it's going to be a little bit better for them because they have that higher ping and being able to use a little bit more strategy to come out on top versus Team Poland. But both teams, I think, playing really, really well.
Absolutely. And I think, especially for US, what I was most impressed with is their job of just playing post Ubers. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it. Like, I don't know how much is an impact in sixes. I'm sure it still, is a factor. But with classes like Heavy and Engie, that with Heavy being so powerful in post Uber and Engie being so powerful before the post Uber, you really need to like learn to play Ubers super well and know like when you should or shouldn't be in these Ubers. And I think USA were doing a fantastic job of that. Not to say that Poland weren't, because I think they were doing a fantastic job as well. But specifically, USA with their positioning and their coordination of when they wanted to aggress in post Ubers and how together they were, I think that was what really took me back as far as seeing like what that top level play looks like.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Another thing, just looking at the logs, um, is that it seems like Team USA did a good job of keeping Scrimus in check. Uh, compared to kind of a log that we saw earlier, only went 8-8 even across the board versus Team USA's sniper went 15-6 and won the SVS 3-1. So pretty good, all things considered. If Team USA are able to keep that up, keep Scrimmage locked down, it's kind of the name of the game for I think a lot of Highlander, at least in my eyes. If the other sniper is popping off, there's not a lot you can do. So the fact that Team USA are taking down a really great sniper like Scrimmage means that it gives some hope going forward.
Absolutely. And I mean, Vigil is in particular a very tough map on Sniper. There's not a lot of great sight lines. The only real exception for like the huge sight line are like I would say the like around the like lockers or burger sign on third, and then like the big door on last. And I think when USA are able to work their sniper in there, it's been super effective for them. And not to say that Poland wasn't working scrimmage, because I think they were, but Lenny at the same time was just doing such a fantastic job of using that opportunity to not only win SVS but take these fights onto the rest of Poland's combo and really just do that kind of semi-permanent damage, at least to get those respawns to be ticking for so long that it's tough to do anything.
Yeah, no, I would 100% agree. Team Poland having some things to work on, but I guess in your eyes, that first kind of forward hold. Do you think that was the thing that kind of caught Team Poland out? Maybe they weren't expecting that aggressive forward hold from USA. And as we go into the second round, as they have a little bit of time to debrief, do you think they're going to be able to adapt to it a little bit better and be able to take it down and not bleed as much time as they did on that first point? Or do you think that's maybe not Team USA's kind of path to victory because they've shown that they can play really well on every single point, but do you think that kind of defense is maybe one of the things that is going to trip Team Poland up and make it so they're just out of reach of maybe taking this first map?
Well, like you said, I think it's a game of adaptability, and it can be really tough. I mean, I was ringing Demo Man in advanced grand finals for Highlander this season, and we did a forward hold, and then in the next round we did a passive hold. And what ended up happening was the other team would just use Uber into nothing. And I think
Oh,
the reason I mentioned that is because you have to be adaptable when you're wanting to take these fights in. And if Poland aren't able to spot where US are holding and how they're holding and trying to set up based off of that, and that can then like that can be really tough. And they need to, I guess I would say to an extent, learn how to micromanage it as well in terms of where they want to spot like certain players and how they want to deal with those things. So like i.e. if there's a heavy on the cliff, you could have the sniper like hard scope him or anything like that. But as Poland are starting on defense here, and it seems like they are sticking in the passive hold, we'll see if that works out for them. I think USA were pretty, I would say, standard to deal with it in terms of just working out their flank, keeping their medic in spawn. But maybe Poland has a bit of an answer for that this time. but we will see as there are 15 seconds left before the gates open.
15 seconds left, and Poland trying to bite back at Team USA in this first map of the best of 3 currently, as we are about to go live. Still going with kind of a standard passive hold, as you said earlier, as Team USA make their way out of the spawn gates and try and suss out what Team Poland have in store for them. So far, so good at just getting some good cap time and making their way forward. No one too aggressive, really, on Team Poland, even Unforgiven, just kind of playing by that little mini hill. But actually Jacob getting a nice kill onto Black is going to mean they don't have to worry about any maybe pesky bombing soldiers over on this flank area as they're making their way forward. And they're getting a lot of good ground, but Scrimus, nice shot onto DT, no demo, is going to be a thorn in Team USA's sides.
Absolutely, losing DT there is very tough. But Poland, because of how passive they're playing, they just have to back it up, especially because they do not want to overcommit and lose players, because then it can turn into a snowball effect where you just lose second because you don't have players, and then you lose third, and so on and so forth. But USA are trying to go for some sort of sack wave right now. They got the sap on the gun. Here comes the rest of USA bursting through the main tunnel, but it isn't going to matter as Black is getting so much damage with that rocket launcher. Gets 2, and finally Sam cleans up the 3rd. And now US, though they do cap it, that was their sack wave, and the only thing they could really find with it was nothing.
Yeah, not having too much success, and even though I haven't seen too much Highlander, I've seen a bit of 6s, and I've seen sack waves not amount to anything. So very unfortunate for Team USA. Obviously, they were quick, so it won't hurt them too much in the grand scheme of things, because now they've basically got all their spawners, and they can just try and go in with a little bit of even Ubers as they use it over on the hill. They do get the counter out. Joey just trying to see if there's maybe some type of angle he can get in, but Melon doing well to use those flames to protect the medic, and now they come in for the refight. Joey bombing in, takes down the sentry gun. They're getting some good picks, actually, Team USA are, but they're losing a few as well, and they're all fairly weak, so even if they did have the picks, I don't think they're going to be able to go in with it, as we do have our very first pause of the game.
Well, I'm guessing that it might be something Team USA wants to talk about, assuming, because I mean, right now this push does not look good, especially considering USA's health with DT at 80, Hyphen at 47, Blake at 68. My guess is they're going to be resetting for something. And I have to say, Black's conch has been doing so much heavy lifting in this fight. I think they've done a great job of just playing around their combo and recognizing that while Soldier, I would say, typically kind of plays around the side tunnel area and just plays for spam. Like once he's done that, he's done his job there and then uses the conch for the post Uber. And I mean, we talked about it a little bit in the half, is that post Ubers are so important in Highlander. And I think that Poland are really adapting to that here. And I mean, we also talked about adaptation, and this is exactly what you want to see out of Poland.
Yeah, it is. I'm surprised that the reach of the conch is that far. I mean, he's all the way over in the tunnel, and then a Legionnaire and Zhao both on the hill are still getting that conch power. So very, very powerful and really great stuff from Black to be able to use that in the post fight. And, you see that a little bit in 6s, and it's kind of hit or miss just because I think teams don't really necessarily know how to use it to its best. Oh, it's Show, not Zhao. My bad, Show. Apologies for mispronouncing your name, but yeah, reaching Show and a Legionnaire over on the high ground. Really great stuff from Black. As it might be maybe a call for a reset for Team USA, as they're all fairly weak. This is still 90 seconds in the future, so maybe it's not this push, but maybe a couple pushes that don't end up working out. But we are going to see as we do go live once again.
Yeah, USA are trying to work their way uphill here. Lenny gets a shot onto Message, and that is a great start for them, as USA working their way pretty confidently up this hill, especially having the sniper up. They're trying to work him, and that is a great start as Lenny gets to pick onto a Legionnaire. Joey Lemons as well, trading onto Black. Triple and Alov going down as well. Sam now going down as well. Hyphen getting the kill from the cart, and that is enough to force Poland back, as I predicted wrong. USA are pretty confidently taking this fight on, or this point on the refight, and now they're going forward yet again. They're setting up for the high bomb from Joey. Here he comes in, going through, but the stab cuts into Unforgiven, Lenny and DT. That is a fantastic decloak, and that completely shuts down any momentum that US had, as they now are forced to go back. Here comes a high bomb in from Black. Gets one shot, almost gets second, but a great deflect from Melon. I'm so impressed with that air blast. That was insane, recognizing that timing. And now Poland are down their soldiers, so all of a sudden maybe the momentum's a bit back in US's favor, as the stab comes in from Jacob.
Oh my god, Jacob with the clutch drop on the show. Now the Uber comes and they can take all the space. They can go as deep as they possibly want, just forcing everyone on Team Poland back into spawn. Black is up and alive. He's one of the few remaining players not over in spawn, but there's not much that he can do, as this is just going to be free. But actually, nice stab on Unforgiven with 2. Completely destroys all the card's mobility. That is where the pause happened. Not quite sure why, but Unforgiven does buy his team a little bit of time, because now it's only Melon on the cart. They didn't have that 3 times that you did with the scout and the other player as well. Here comes a bomb from Black. Really great. Tries to lock up with the pyro, but not able to do anything there. And it's still going to be Team Poland forced back onto last, but it does mean that they have a little bit of time to get their defenses set up, as here comes Team USA rolling in onto the last point.
Yeah, my guess is that pause was talking about the recommit and if they wanted to do it and, you know, what the conditions were for if they back out. But anyway, US goes in for the sack here, trying to get something. They do get a lot of damage. They are going to get the shot into a Legionnaire from Jacob peeking through main, although Melon is going to go down as well, and Joey Lemons. Here comes Lenny and Triple working up. Lenny getting the kill onto Masuja, and Alov going down as well, with Lenny being so aggressive on that track area. And now Poland are down 5 players, losing the gun as well. I think that's exactly what USA wanted from their sack wave, even if they don't get the force off.
When JW, nice headshot on to Black, just means that if they do try and come in with the Uber, they don't have to worry about any pesky banners in the post. So they do take down the sentry gun. Jacob is already in, and here comes the Uber. Both teams are going to exchange over on the last point. Team USA backing up, and now the post can commence. They're walking forward. Joey Lemons kind of pushing the flank with Blank. Is going to be taken down, but JW, nice headshot onto Scrimmage. Doesn't have to worry about getting counter-sniped himself, and now they can just take all of this ground. Unforgiven.
Lenny!
Oh my god.
Excuse me for cutting you off, but Lenny just landing these insane headshots, and that is going to completely wipe them out. Triple as well, working his way onto the cart, and that is 4 minutes 54 for the side of US.
Really, really great stuff from the side of US. 4:54, sub 5. I don't know if that's the standard. What would you say the standard time is on a Vigil game?
I think usually I would say, well, the thing is, Vigil can be a very snowbally map, as I had mentioned, that, you know, like, if you say overcommit players on one point, then it's very easy to lose players on the next point and the next point, and then by that point you're at full Uber Disat on last. So I've literally seen, I think, sub 3 minute times, though those are very rare. But either way, I think, like, at the most, you probably, I would say higher times are going to be around like 8 or 9 minutes, and it's only very rare that you get above 10 minutes.
Interesting. Well, it's going to be, you're going to be hoping that Poland does the same, as they have got a heck of a time to beat. Seems like they are going to be going for the aggressive setup on Team USA. As you can see, Hyphen building up that sentry gun and using that Eureka effect to its maximum. I mean, that's sick for me to see, because you don't see that at all in sixes. But they're going to be using it to go back and try and help build up this little forward hold, the aggressive forward hold. So we're going to have to see if Team Poland can be able to adapt. They were able to eventually find it the first time around, but they got to do it a lot quicker if they want to try and take this second round.
Yeah, as we get underway, we see Unforgiven just trying to get past and go for decloak. Real quickly, I did want to ask you, as a, you know, primarily sixes player and caster, how is it seeing like all these different strategies and different things?
It's honestly really interesting, because you're not able to see these kind of like classes and unlocks and things like that kind of work together in the same sort of way as you would in sixes. As we do with all the parachute, you don't see that at all in sixes, but it's not going to really work out, as Alov just gets shot down, and Masuj high in the sky does manage to land some flares, but it doesn't really do enough damage to make it worth it. Unforgiven managing to, no, he's going to be taken down. So that sack wave not really working out. I don't think they found anyone on Team USA. So this forward aggressive hold working out wonders. But I mean, that is some instances right there of something you would never see in sixes, and working out not too well, but you know, the dream was there.
For sure, and especially I would say Bowl of Mayo being one of the primary kind of initiators of that parachute strat, that it can definitely work out, but not in this case, as USA are looking very dominant right now with this hold. As the Uber exchanges come out, no real picks happening other than KCam going down, I think, during the Uber, just getting caught a little bit, but Alov getting the nice damage onto Lenny with those sticky bombs, and Poland trying to flood over hill now with a Legionnaire working up the flank as well. as I think Poland just trying to work their flood a little bit, but it doesn't matter as Lenny gets a great shot onto Scrums. Here comes the bomb from Black, getting a ton of damage onto K, is going to find the kill onto Hyphen, or excuse me, not K, Hyphen, and that is going to be enough that USA are playing pretty passively now. There's still so much damage coming out from Poland on this hill area. Still, I can't believe all these kills going on, but Triple coming back with the teleporter, getting one onto the medic and the second onto Masuj. That is great. Show now being dead, that's going to give the USA full Uber ad.
It's going to give them full Uber ad, and they're playing a little bit close. Maybe Triple and DT just ready to take this in if they see the combos close, and they can just extend this as a Black and K-Cam trying to work the flank as they're starting to get a little bit aggressive over this mini hill. A Lav rushing forward is going to be able to get that Uber or force it out. DT rushing forward is going to be able to take down a Lav, but luckily Show is going to be nice, safe, and secure over the back lines.
Scrimmage gets the shot into Blake from, I think it was like on the shed area, and that body shot is going to completely turn this around. Now, this is where that momentum I was talking about earlier starts to come in, because USA full Uber just said it's going to be really tough to hold this point unless they have a really good reaggress. So this is going to be tough for them, as Poland now capping the first point. Granted, it is only 2 minutes left on the clock, so it's going to be very tough, but I do believe it's still possible. So Poland has to take this fast and has to take it very confidently if they're going to win this round.
As you can see already, kind of Team USA, they're not really full committing to this hold. They're already playing back, maybe recognizing that their strategy lies in not losing any players, or as few players as possible. As the Uber does come out, they do use it to take down the sentry gun. They're probably going to lose DT, who's a little bit overextended. Yeah, Unforgiven is going to be able to get that one. They're actually finding a good amount of kills as the flank Joey Lemons comes in with the bomb. Is going to be able to find a few. Scrimmage, Masuj, and Sam all going down there, but the damage is already done. It's only Blake and Lenny left alive, and they're going to have to go back into the spawn. And it is going to be Uber advantage for Team USA, but they're down so many players. It's not a lot of time to set up before Team Poland can start walking in.
Yeah, I think USA doing a very good job of recognizing that, okay, we can commit players to try to stop the cart and just delay for time, but we need to keep our Uber here, otherwise that's when we're really in trouble. And now USA trying to go for the regas. They do get out of the shutter here in time and use the Uber with the advantage. Joey Lemons with the high bomb, nice damage, and they're starting to clean up. But look at this damage from DT on point, and Blank cleaning up perfectly, and now the cart is stopped with 50 seconds left. They have to get on the cart immediately or this is over. And I mean, USA are so aggressive now. They chase Sam, they chase Show down to 30 health. Show finally gets the resupply, barely escaping with his life. And now USA, look how aggressive they are on this tracks area. Lenny is going to go down there from Alob, getting a ton of damage with those fantastic pipes, just hitting shot after shot. But it doesn't matter. DT cleaning up the kill. K-Cam and Black going down as well. And now the Uber comes out from Poland, but it is all for naught at this point, as there are only 25 seconds left.
Is only 20 seconds left on the clock, and Team USA managing to hold it out. That first point hold, working out wonders, and then that Uber over on a C point, doing really, really well for them. Great things, and being able to just bleed so much time off the clock. Joey Lemons does get launched into the sky and suspended there a little bit, but it's not gonna matter. Team USA is gonna take it into the first map versus Team Poland. So really, really great stuff, I think, all around. And kind of like you said, they were just able to out-adapt Team Poland just a little bit better with that kind of forward aggressive holds, and then also just their Uber play, recognizing when they should hold them and when they should just go all in.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Their Uber play is fantastic. But I think as well, like you mentioned, that forward hold, I'm not 100% sure how commonly used that is in the current ETF2L meta, but at least in RGL, especially in these higher divs, the more kind of forward setup has been very popular within the last few seasons. And I think it's kind of at an all-time high right now. And I mean, you can see why. If you don't know how to break through it, it can be really, really tough to get through. And especially so when you have a player like Lenny that can just peek the tracks area and just snipe down all your players. It is so tough. And then not to mention DT as well, playing very aggressively on the tracks and getting so much damage off onto that hill area. And I mean, Poland were just at a bit of a loss for what to do. Eventually, they were able to break out, and I think that they had something going with like the sack waves. And you know, when they did take the Uber out, it definitely worked for them. But until like that point, it seemed like they were just losing enough time that they had to make some sort of adaptation, and USA were able to capitalize on that time used to make the adaptation, and just by taking advantage of that, it just automatically meant they had the advantage and thus were able to win that map.
Yeah, they have been able to win it, making them a little bit closer to advancing or just going forward in the Nations Cup. Team USA A, which they may be trying to avenge their fallen brethren a little bit, and Team USA B, who, as we kind of mentioned earlier, got pretty hard done by Team Poland, especially Scrimmage, who did not have the same game as he did last time. Uh, Not really kind of really being shut down, like you said, maybe a little bit harder of a sniper map, but on the other side of things, Lenny having a fairly good game, like you said, his team being able to keep him in good positions in that forward hold. And he just peaks and he's just getting those shots. 13-4 versus a Scrimmage's 5-6. So a little bit of a sniper difference along it, but I mean, a lot of people, sorry, on Team USA playing well, not just Lenny.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's not forget Blank as well, going 27-15, um, almost outkilling Lenny with Lenny having 28. But even so, on payload, I think a lot of people expect scouts to really struggle, and that can certainly be true if scouts aren't able to play their cards right, and it's certainly tougher as well than any sort of Koth map. That you kind of have to play on this payload and just be the cart buddy for Howard amount of time with that 2x capture rate, and then you just kind of get bored just lurking or just sitting around and twiddling your thumbs. But Blank getting 285 DPM, which I would say for payload is very impressive.
Yeah, listen, I'll believe you because I'm not as familiar, but no, I definitely know that Scout can be a little bit just put in a box sometimes, especially in Highlander. So Blank doing really well, and I'm shouldn't be too surprised because Blank really great sixes player as well. Kind of one of the names I know from sixes. So seeing him kind of stretch his legs and have a little bit of a field day over in Highlander in the Nations Cup, great to see as well. But Team USA winning this first map, as you kind of said, you didn't say that they were going to win outright, but you said this is maybe one of their better opportunities of winning just because of that ping differential. Going to be moving on to the second map. I don't know what the second map is, if it's another payload map or if it's King of a Hill. Oh,
I
product.
believe it's,
Okay.
yeah, product.
Okay. So if we go by the logic, it might be a little bit better for Team Poland over on product, a little bit more DM base, not as much room just to kind of execute some grand strategy or something like that. So I don't know if we also have the map picks and bans. I assume this was picked by Team USA. Oh, we don't. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna assume in my head that just based off how they played, Team USA were picking that first map. So we go on to the second map. Team Poland on product. And if there's one thing I know about product, and this is true in sixes, and I assume it's also true in Highlander, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Gray. This is sniper paradise. The sightlines are insane. You can just sit over on China, sit over on Cliff, and the world is your oyster, essentially. The heads will roll.
You are certainly right about that. It is a sniper paradise. By the way, I believe we have Jarrett ready to go since I believe you had to head out. So, Tcmano, I want to say thank you so much for coming. It was fantastic casting with you.
Thank you as well. It's fantastic casting with you and much, much appreciated because I don't know much about Highlanders. So your expertise was a very warm welcome. But someone else who is Jarrett coming in, he's a Highlander god. He knows it. He's played it. He's done it before. Jarrett, welcome in. And I will be dipping out. Have a good time, y'all. And for everyone watching, stay tuned. This USA versus Team Poland is only just starting up. And we'll see you next time. Peace.
Thanks so much, Tcmano. Love you, my guy. And welcome, Jarrett. How's it going?
Doing good. How about you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Bit tired today, but
Could be worse.
for
Although
sure.
some product is definitely going to liven things up because there's if there's any map in the pool to not have any downtime potentially spare, like waiting for the 8-second respawns, then product is definitely going to be it. So it's going to be interesting to see the kind of change up in terms of product. There's some lulls or vigil and payload in general. You got to wait for the card a little bit. You're definitely going to wait for your Uber and not necessarily dry right off the bat, but not necessarily the case when it comes to product. There's a lot of drying. There's a lot of just going in nonstop to try to force the the respawn advantage that you have, even though it exists on payload, it's even more so prominent on product. So I'm kind of curious to see how we begin to potentially, maybe not, see some sort of play style switch up when it comes to the level of aggression that these teams will show on this map.
For sure. And I've seen USA go both ways in that regard. I've seen them be very passive and methodical, and I've seen them be extremely aggressive. We were talking a little bit about, or I was talking about with Tcmano about kind of the EU versus NA Highlander metas. And I think that, especially in the last few years, from what I understand, that the EU meta has shifted from being kind of known as a more passive style to really becoming more aggressive and kind of in tune with what NA has been, I guess, over the past couple seasons as well. And I think that that applies for both Sixes and Highlander, but I would say even especially so for Highlander, just with how aggressively teams play nowadays. And on a map like Product, it is just going to be absolute chaos. I'm very excited to be like talking like an auctioneer, you know?
Yeah, I would honestly agree, but which is why I'm extra surprised to see how Vigil kind of played out. In fact, it was really funny because going into this, I kind of assumed that, like, oh, coordination-wise, I mean, I'm not too familiar, admittedly, with Team Poland, but Team USA has a large amount of players that have tons of experience playing with each other in a team environment, not necessarily just playing, like, pugs or double mixes or whatever. So I figured that their coordination would be pretty on point. It was actually Team Poland's coordination in terms of what your plan is and how you execute it that felt like it was nonstop, like everyone's on the same page doing everything at the same time. And it was Team USA that was kind of on the sloppy side and kind of chain feeding when it was time to go for sacks and things like that. But at the end of the day, when we talk about the level of aggression that both teams are showing, at least what they showed on Vigil, it was, Poland trying to, if they were trying to keep up, it felt like they were playing not to lose. You can saw the way that Team USA played and trying to milk every little second they can off of the first point. The way that as soon as third was done, they brought their entire team almost to last to make sure that it would be extremely difficult to actually get a level 3 gun set up and have the whole like shebang across the entire flank and sniper sideline set up and everything ready to go. And I think when you look at more particularly the first round, since the second round was kind of the cap didn't get to finish because of the time difference. I think when you have a game like that where it comes down to like under 60 seconds, that's just one fight. You take one fight, maybe a little bit greedy, but like a healthy amount of greed, some aggression that works out in your favor. That's how you really clinch a victory. So I feel like that is the main difference on why the first round of Vigil went how it went. However, we're no longer in payload territory. That's why I kind of emphasize how swapping to map like Product going into Koth mode will have teams play a little bit differently. Maybe we'll see more of the aggression that we kind of expected from Team Poland.
For sure. I think you make a great point, especially about with sack waves, how there's kind of it can be really tough, especially I think USA were struggling a bit with it and just having them as consistent as they were. Granted, they were in times where you could consider it like downtime where the payload needed to be pushed up, but that doesn't really apply as much on Koth as we are getting underway here with USA versus Poland. USA taking the first map of Vigil 2-0. It is now 0-0 starting on Product as we are in our first mid-fight. Both demos rolling out through main.
Yeah, if anything's to be expected, the heads are going to start rolling immediately. We see bombs coming in. It's going to be Black going in behind. Scrim is taken down. The SPS is the first shot. Not very good for the red team starting out, but they're able to get a couple kills. DT and Blake are both dead. Heal advantage for the red team, but can they keep show alive? They're very passive, trying to make sure they can keep what little advantage they have still in their grasp, but for how far back they felt like they needed to play to make sure to keep him alive, they've given up some point time. They have a soldier and spy coming in last second, able to take down Joey Lemons and Triple, so at the end of the day, their patience does indeed pay off, and they only had to sacrifice maybe starting the cap a little bit sooner, but at the end of the day, it's worth it. Be able to get this cap up. They have full Uber ready to go for any sort of advance that the blue team tries to exert over them as they're able to get through out of their spawn now. And I guess here's the question. You going for a sack wave on the blue team, or are you going for the dry?
Well, when you have a sniper like Lenny, maybe you don't need to. And I mean, or as well, that can maybe just work out, as actually having no pyro means it's very hard to defend the medic as the Uber comes out with the great force from Joey Lemons, Lenny, and Blank also helping out, but they are going to get picked off in the process. Now, Poland trying to find any extra stragglers, and they do get pretty close, almost getting...
Oh, the Unforgiven!
Pick up DT, but Unforgiven onto Blake! What a fantastic stab, and that's going to completely shut down the momentum for Team US.
I will say the Unforgiven was by far, I think, the MVP for Poland, even though they weren't able to clutch the victory. He found a lot of really good stabs, and the picks are, I think, what really kept them in the game, has made it as close as it was. And he's definitely showing right off the bat in this first round that he's able to clutch out in important moments in this map as well. They did lose their sniper and their demo at the end of the day, so that is going to be enough for them to actually lose the point here, despite getting that kill onto Blake. So it is going to be a dry the next time the red time approaches. They're making some room over on the concrete, a bit faster than the side of their combo, but not going to be punished for it too hard now. Blue team, they got to figure out something. You know, you want to do some sort of aggression if possible to see if you can kind of even the playing field before red team comes with their ad, but it's not really showing. A snipe onto Skirmiss is going to make things a bit easier. They're trying to walk through main now. Olive trying to make some space for his team as the Uber's going to come eventually, 98% and counting. They would walk right through. Got to be careful. Lenny is on the scope of main, and it will force the Uber. Be able to have a little bit of spy on spy action with Jacob stabbing Unforgiven, and so far this Uber, it actually didn't get any kills at all. Enough time for DT and Blake to run forward with the Uber of their own. Blake trying to clean up. They are wiping behind that rock. They positioned on the red team as if they forgot that it was going to be not too long until Blue got an Uber of their own. Perhaps maybe misjudging how the Uber went wrong, or thought they'd have a little bit more time before Blake was going to reach 100%, but the miscalculations there are extremely punishing as we see Team USA immediately get into some sort of a forward hold.
Yeah, they're liking this forward hold a lot. DT getting super aggro with these stickies in the cliff area, and now Poland having to back out of that sort of push. They rotate quickly to main, but DT's right there to meet them. There's a lot of damage coming out from Alov, who does get the pipe onto Lenny, but it isn't going to matter as he gets picked off. Here comes the high bomb in from Black, is going to be behind but not get anything. Melon doing such a great job protecting her combo.
Man, they got lost a couple people on the side of Team Poland, but that's all you really want to have happen to get through this. You know, you trade some lives, it's fine, they'll respawn, you respawn faster, and you break through in pretty much one try, which they have done. They have 15 ad, but it's really honestly pretty negligible, so you're not going to go with it. Pretty much treat this as an even Uber scenario, as both teams pretty much have their entire team set up, ready to go. Blue team are starting to get more aggressive now. They actually have the Uber, and since red team is shown, they're going to go ahead. It's a family Uber for the red team. They've flashed so much. They've lost 2. They've lost 3. Sniper included, trying to chase on any kill they can from the blue team that popped first, but Blank will be able to scurry away and be fine. They're just playing on what little they have left. Jacob is body blocking show. He's down to red HP. 40 HP has the pack, doesn't even want it. Wants to run back to spawn to make sure Slaughter doesn't bomb in and kill him. It's so far, they've been able to escape with their lives, but blue team taking the initiative with that Uber, finding a moment where the entirety of Team Poland has to flash like upwards of 4 separate people, just completely ruins any chance of them having any good Uber. So they approach the point, their Uber gets expended, they immediately have to leave, and blue team still holding on strong, under 20 seconds about left to go, and we're not even going to reach Ubers potentially. It might just be another straight up try here that seals the deal.
Yeah, I mean, Poland doesn't really have much choice here with 10 seconds left now on the clock. USA 85% Uber. Lenny gets a pick onto Alov as well. It's not going to help. Skirmiss does find the shot onto Blank, and shutting down a scout like that can really make a difference. Black and Skirmiss, though, going down. Joey Lemons is going to get caught off as well. And now with point time on the clock, and it's going to be all that matters. The Uber comes out here onto the heavy, the pyro, and the demo, and the Uber actually comes out from Poland. They do get off in time, but cap time mattering a lot. Lenny gets a shot onto a Legionnaire, which is going to be a great start, and there's so many kills coming off from Team US. Poland just doesn't have the manpower for it, and US are going to take the first round.
That misjudge, I mean, of all the things you can really critique, like obviously I think there was a little bit of SVS diff that made things hard for Team Poland in this particular round. But the big thing they have to look back on is the fact that they mistracked how long Blake would get and until he has his Uber. And then they completely wiped for it, got put in that forward hold. That killed like a minute off the clock and really put them in a bad spot. But if it's only one thing that kind of puts you back, you know, you can look forward to the future into a new round to see how things transpire from here. Joey Lemons immediately going behind, getting chased by Sam, looping around, wants to find Scrim, is able to find him, only put a little bit of damage on him, though the red team surges forward, able to take down Lenny and Blake, but they give up a lot on their own. It's deja vu. His show is alive, but they have a skeleton crew left to try to take this point, and this time around, it'll be a bit different with the blue team taking the first cap.
Great job on that, catching all those moments from Poland, sending their players in. The one advantage for Poland now is they do have full Uber advantage as they start to work their way up here. USA recognizing it pretty clearly as they are very far back, giving up a lot of point time as well. Poland just trying to finish off the cap now. USA trying to give them a bit of trouble with it. And here comes the Uber out. They're going to go in, and the stab comes in from Unforgiven onto Blake, getting DT as well with the swipe. And now Poland with full Uber advantage and the point. Only 25 seconds off the clock for Team US. Poland now looking very confident.
Yeah, they played it really safe there. They saw that the med got stabbed and like, screw it, free Uber. Let's make sure no one else dies here to snipe or anything else. Let's clear some extra kills. Knowing that they would still have an ad, albeit not as big, it's still workable. But this gives Blue some room to dry fight without the worry of an Uber coming their way. So a bit safe, but it still works out somewhat. Blue team given a little bit of alleviation, not just from that, but from the stab onto Alov. So no demo available for the red team. They're just going to get capped under their noses. They do lose Blank. Explosive class is going as well, as Black will end up falling. Another stab from the side of Jacob, making sure that there's no explosive entrance here for the red team. As they have the Uber now. It was 25 ad. They know it's ad. They don't have a whole lot of classes though. Their demo just got here. They would have to just do a scout solo maybe to try to find a way to surge through. But so far, they get some cap time. Uber does eventually get expended. They want to go ahead and go for this exchange, taking the initiative with it. Blue team trying to find some extra damage. Mini Sentry still up on the field will get piped down. And so far, no kills coming from the Uber. Blue team just still buying more time. Olive trying to poke the point. Same with Sam, trying to gain some cap time. Sam a bit aggressive, might die, gets an arrow, is fine. Joey Lemmings bombing in, trying to create some extra space, and Blue team still holding on. Olive left alone though. They're all back chasing Joey Lemmings. He gets the kill on the Melon though, and Skirmish gets a snipe on the Hyphen. They're just doing it for now. They're a bit separated on the red team, but it's somehow working out. A Legionnaire on the sideline, making it difficult for them to stay in this fight, and losing so many players. I mean, the way the red team decided to split up their team, bird's eye view, that looked really, really sketchy, but it works out. Their execution was good enough on both ends to make sure they still are able to have this point end up their own. So they gotta hold on to it for as long as they can if they want to actually enter a point where they actually have time difference over the blue team. As you know, it's only a little bit longer till the blue team's able to get their Uber of their own or back to a more exchange territory.
For sure, as USA are starting to aggress here, maybe just get a bit of space. It is going to be pretty much even with the Ubers. USA having very slight ad. They actually recognize it though in the moment. They know the med's 96. They know he's low. He finally gets the Uber out. Black is going to go down during the Uber though, but USA's Uber's a lot worse. Here comes the damage in main. Blake's going to get caught by the sticky from Alof. And now USA trying to refight, but they don't have heals for it. They do have a bit of damage. Here comes the buff from Joey Lemons!
Oh, gets two. It's only a couple people left alive from the side of the red team, but same could be said for blue. They only have a handful on the point. A lot of them are actually behind now, trying to clean up kills, and cleaning up kills they are. It is just Black and Unforgiven left alive on either ends of the map, and they will not be able to do too much. Blue team, it looked really sketchy at the beginning because I think they weren't able to... They brought 3 people in the Uber, and it made it difficult for Blake to have scout speed to actually exit and get out in time, so he did end up falling. But the collapse at the end of it was still top tier. So bomb coming again. Joey Lemons wants to take Olive out of the picture. He will indeed die, but Scrimmage gets a snipe onto Blake. They've lost their meta again, but they're still able to get a lot of kills here. Joey Lemons barely surviving at 1 HP, will not burn out as this forward hold. I mean, it's not as traditional, but it's still pseudo. They had some positioning on top of the concrete, but they will eventually back up on Team USA to go ahead and meet up with Blake, get their crit heals if possible, make sure they can hold on to this point long term. It's pretty even after all said and done. They bought some time, made it difficult for the red team to actually get and approach the point. And at the end of the day, they're not necessarily in a bad spot. They still have control over it. They're around their own side of the rock, and red team, they just need to put in some work if they want to be able to get some more cap time on the board. Joey Lemons went behind. Another kill onto Blake. Black going huge here, but blue team, they're trying to surge forward and get some extra kills. They're able to get the first 3 classes from the side of the red team. And Tremis, revolver down by Jacob. They're getting these kills early on, but the follow-up from the side of the blue team when their medic dies, Poland's having some difficulty trying to deal with it. Despite all these kills they're getting, they are still not capped up.
Oh, Blake! Blank gets, excuse me for cutting you off, but Blank gets the kill onto show, and that is going to be huge for US as they are maybe feeling a little more confident about holding this.
They still don't have the cap despite all the good things that's happened to them so far. I mean, despite the very late medic death, that was obviously very not good for Team Poland, but so far, this chaos that Team USA is pulling out when Blake is dying has been, seems like a lot for Poland to handle. The bomb comes in from Black, tries to take out Lenny, will not succeed. 3 down, 4 down. They've barely begun their hold immediately. This is hardly even a hold anymore. Joey Lemons leading the way forward, taking a love back. He will get revolver down by Jacob, and once again, skeleton crew for the red team. Got to be careful, make sure you don't overstay your welcome. But on the other hand, you do want to stay in because of the time difference that has been gained for USA throughout the entirety of this round. And this is definitely a game of Poland takes 1 step forward and then has to take 2 steps back because of Team USA. But Team USA taking another round, leading it 2-0.
Yeah, and that makes this, if, USA takes another round here, or excuse me, another 2 rounds, then they are going to win this map and move on to the grand finals of the Highlander Nations Cup. Poland now kind of back against the wall here. I think they need to make some sort of adjustment if they want to stay in this. They have a lot of good things going, but they need to. I mean, we were talking about this a little bit earlier. They need to make some sort of adaptation to maybe adjust to how USA is playing and maybe catch them off guard a little more.
Yeah, I think the most patterned thing is they're able to get these kills onto Blake, but what comes after is what's really biting them. Like they'll eventually be able to win, but it takes so long that it's almost not even a victory anymore. Team USA is able to get still so much time off the clock despite being in such a disadvantageous position. I think they are, maybe a handful of players, they would take some extra looking to try to point out particular classes, but it really feels like there's a split between people trying to be active still, like, oh, we've killed the medic, we've won, let's go, versus people trying to preserve their lives to make sure they don't accidentally die while capping, and then all of a sudden, have a worse respawn timer. Because you don't want to cap and then die, and then, your team has to wait for you and things like that. That's what they're trying to avoid, but what's happening is no one's able to get on the cap at all. I think the flat-out damage trade and maybe an inability to try to figure out where the potential threats are or where they could be coming from is what's making it take so long, and allowing Team USA to hold on longer than I think a whole lot of people would initially think in a situation like that where you lose such an important class off the bat.
For sure. And I mean, when we're talking about important classes, I mean, obviously Blake dying more than Show, with Blake having 7 deaths to Show's 3. So I think that Poland, they can recognize that they are able to get these kills that like really matter so much, but it's just a matter of kind of finishing off, what they start. And I think that USA were just, I mean, I don't mean to sound like I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but US are just doing their adaptability stuff so well, and I think Poland are just struggling with that.
I think one thing that makes it harder than Vigil, for the most part, as well, beyond map-specific things, I guess maybe this is a map-specific thing in terms of when you compare the two maps, is I feel like Team USA is actually coordinated this time. On Vigil, you would watch their sack waves, and it's like, all right, guys, it's time to go in. And it was, like I said, it was chain feeding sometimes, where it's just one after another after another. It was kind of obvious that not everyone was ready, but it was a call made because of a heat of the moment thing where people saw an opportunity and now was the time to go, now or never type of deal, and you just take what you can get. Here on product, they are actually, I feel like, on point when it comes to initiation and aggression. I don't feel like we've seen a whole, maybe like once or twice, but for the most part, there's been a whole lot of, when it's time to go, everyone go. And maybe that's a byproduct of the map just being smaller. So you're not going to have a moment of like, wait, guys, I'm all the way back here. If I go in now, I'm going to be the last one and I'm not going to be with you guys, stuff like that. I think that probably makes it a bit easier for them to have their aggression work out so they can win in a more DM fashion rather than like a fundamental how to play the map type of fashion. Because if anything, I mean, I still want to look at specifics. Like I want to keep an eye on this more, but something's going wrong with Team Poland in the way they are handling, like trying to take a dry and then all of a sudden getting an important pick and how you win off that. There's something very much going wrong. Like eventually a team will surge in and try to do their sack wave and aggress and you deal with it. You maybe lose a couple classes if you're unlucky. It's just the way of the road and then you cap. But that's just not happening at all in Team Poland. There's something very much going wrong that probably, I would imagine if you're Team Poland, you're probably doing more of the talking about like, what do we need to fix? Because Team USA, they're in the lead. If anything, they're only talking about like what they expect to maybe change. If you're a Team Poland fan, I think you are hoping that they're trying to address how to deal with everyone on Team USA going forward when, the blue medic dies. Because on paper, it seems easy enough to discuss and like, yeah, you just do this and that. But I mean, dealing with 9 people on one side and 9 people on another, too many variables. Stuff gets hit in the crossfire and things get mixed up, and it's easier said than done. So I guess we'll see how things change in the second half, if anything, on Team Poland side, because I don't really expect tons of changes from Team USA, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, if Team USA are going to make changes, they're going to have to do it on the fly. And on that note, I believe on the other side of things for the Nations Cup that England have knocked out Russia, winning on Upward and Vigil, I believe. So they are moving on to the finals, and now that means whoever wins this are going to face against England.
Okay. You know who your opponents are. Got to keep yourself locked in, though, to try to win this one first. But you know what's on the horizon.
For sure. And I mean, from what I've seen of England so far in the tournament, they are a really tough team. And I think if there's ever a team capable of beating England, it would be one of these two. I think Poland have played phenomenally, especially with players like Scrimmage just being so good at sniper. And then on the other side of the board here, we got US who have just played incredibly well as a team. And I think that while they definitely have some standout players, there's no one that really, I would say, goes too much out of the ordinary of just this standard kind of phenomenal play that you see, across everyone from US. And I think that, having like such a well-balanced team that can really benefit them a lot in
Yeah,
taking such a tough fight against a team like England.
and it's usually a huge compliment to a team if you try to think of an MVP and you struggle to only pick one, especially if it's a large portion of the team taking turns, having moments to shine definitely shows a whole lot on their ability to play. Doesn't necessarily get you all the wins at the end of the day, but it definitely shows that there's not necessarily any dead weight. And if you try to focus on one player, you're kind of leaving one on the dust that might be able to carry for their team. But it's not over yet. Poland, they've still shown a lot of prowess. They've shown what they're capable of. And honestly, it hasn't been too bad. It's been a mistake here, a mistake there. But, sometimes the halftime switch is real. And we'll get to see how much things have changed since the previous rounds. As immediately the soldiers, they try to go behind and they clash in the air. But immediately, Skirmish going down, a huge amount of the combo for the red team immediately dying as well. Does not bode well for them. They only have Unforgiven behind who might be able to get some sort of stab, but this fight kind of ended as soon as it began. Immediately, this your combo and sniper exploding does not really bode well, and that was probably the quickest mid we've had so far. It didn't amount to a whole lot of deaths. I think it was the least amount of deaths so far, but it was the quickest.
Something I want to point out real quick, USA recognizing that they had won the mid fight, they took that downtime to send their Pyro, their NG, and their Soldier all behind looking for Unforgiven, and they caught him, and now it's going to be really tough. But here comes the crits from US, and they catch the kill onto Masuj. They aren't going to get the Uber, though, as Show uses very quickly. But now kills coming in, Lenny and Blank both finding kills, Sam and Unforgiven going down, and
Black though
collapsing. Blake goes down though, and Jacob as well, but there is now a 2v4. Poland getting their players. They are going to be spawning though. Alof goes down from Blank, playing so aggressively on this concrete. US now with slight Uber disad as their medic is still spawning, but Poland, I mean, I think that realistically you kind of take that on both sides. You can be happy with it, as Lenny finds a nice shot onto the Pyro there. Skirmish now trying to work his way out from the cliff with the beam as well. US playing very passively.
Yeah, it did have to lose some players, and immediately getting the kill into Skirmish, though, does kind of even things out. They aren't on crits anymore. They just win it for the one-off play to kind of keep them on their toes, and they were successful. But red team approaches, red team dies. They get the kill on a DT, which will be helpful for the next time they approach, but ideally you don't keep having fights where it's like, oh, the next time we go in. And speaking of going in, Joey Lemons combined with Jacob able to clean up two pretty important classes, got the scout and the medic, so no scout speed and no medic means no speed and momentum for your team. So they're still getting aggressive. At least Blank is, for the most part, trying to pick a fight with K-Cam, and for the most part it's a bit even, does end up winning at the end of the day. But Black, opportunity, trying to find the way onto Blank, surfs one, surfs another, not enough damage at the end of the day to take down the blue medics, so all is fine on the USA front for now. Is red team, I mean, they still have to wait for people to go ahead and respawn before they're able to have their quote-unquote next approach, and this time it is disad, so we'll see if it's a dry or some sort of sack wave. They're approaching slowly, and Skirmish immediately dying once again means I think drawing is probably out of the equation, unless you want to wait for another bit. No, they go anyway, and Lenny gets another kill show. They're running forward. It's the engineer crits bonanza as Hyphen goes in, able to kill K-Cam, and it just hits scan all across the board, running the train down over to the slope area. Time to spawn camp the telly. It's trapped. See if anyone takes it, but overall, really good job from the side of the blue team as they will go ahead.
Lenny with the kill
Skirmish again. This is complete domination. They are having fun with it now. 30 seconds left. They're trying to break through this forward. I mean, they're able to keep most of their team alive on the side of the blue team. Black existing over on the concrete. Red HP, though, will eventually fall, you'd imagine. No one's really turning around, though, up until now. Melon able to shotgun him down, and another shot from Lenny just into the spawn. We're starting to get into disrespect mode. I think Team USA has recognized how much they're diffing on product. Gets another kill on a KCam. Unforgiven trying to go for a last-minute stab, but no one's near the point. No one's here to grant overtime. This was a complete lockout in favor of Team USA this round.
They're literally in the spawn of Poland by that point. I mean, Poland just, I don't think they didn't get a single second off the clock. The mid-fight was looking pretty close, but other than the mid-fights, Poland have been really struggling. And now 1 round away, USR from taking this map. And real quick, with taking the map, that will be the end of it, and they will go on to be grand finalists against England.
Yeah, the really impressive thing is you kind of expect Poland to have a surge for it and have a really dominant showing, but it's Team USA that has even more of a victory. Going in, Unforgiven immediately found they want to take Hyphen out of the picture. Maybe Black immediately sends himself in. Grimace dying once again, so no sniper for the red team in any of these mids so far, really. For the second half, as blue team just goes ahead and walks on in, and that's going to be the main ticket to allow yourself to give you the space to go ahead and cap this up. I think we did see the quickie bombs coming out from the side of the red team the first time, and Masuji gets a really nice reflect on a DT, so that is going to be nice to kind of prevent things from happening. But the crits, quickies coming in, taking out Blake. That's why he was on quickies. They saw the crits in the previous round. It's like, you know what, we'll do that once ourselves as well, and able to find some kills there. Not able to take the point, but they're still in a pretty good spot. They have crits add to work with, even though it's not a surprise anymore. They've lost 30 seconds off the clock, but they're getting a couple kills here, making it hard for the blue team to go ahead and run forward too much and go for any last-minute sacks as they go ahead and cap this up. So maybe, just maybe, we'll finally see a point where red team is able to be in the lead when it comes to the clock time.
And they're certainly capitalizing on that aggression with Black going in and getting both DT and Hyphen. That is a great start for them. Oh, and Black does go down and gets caught.
Almost onto Blake. Almost. But he's able to live with 20 HP. They used their crits, though. They saw an opportunity to maybe get some kills. They thought, we don't need the medic per se. If we're able to use this crits to get kills, then we'll stagger like Jacob. But it's Jacob that gets the kills. The crits gets nothing with the quickies, and Jacob goes in and gets 2. The shoe is on the other foot as the blue team runs forward, try to get these extra kills that are still lingering around the rock area, but Scrim is able to kill Blake. Melon dying as well, so blue team not the most coordinated when it comes to the chaos scenario. Red team is able to have some sort of presence here as DT does get shot twice by Scrimmage and take it down, so it's a little bit of deja vu, but from the other team side, as the blue team, they win a fight pretty convincingly just to not
med.
Cap.
Triple killed the med in spawn.
I didn't in their spawn? Okay, yes, no wonder spawn. I didn't see it, because you don't expect the blue heavy to go to the red spawn. They will eventually cap this up, though, so at the end of the day, that play is definitely going to bring a huge boon to the defense here to kind of keep this in their favor. The red team's still on crits. They are still saying, hey, we need to change something. The first couple crits didn't do crazy, but Unforgiven getting the stab onto Blake kind of solves the issue of potentially not getting the crits in time for the Ubers. They'll have plenty of time now.
Man, I mean, Blake has had some very good surfs, but sometimes on product it can just be a struggle, as there are just so many things that can kill you, and it really goes to show here. But Jacob gets the kill up to show!
The medics are just dying left and right at this point. It's like you might as well go crits, just double crits, because you need to make sure you're able to get some sort of charge coming out. But you gotta hold on to this for the blue team. Red team's trying to get really aggressive. A lot of a bit alone though. Sam tried to help a little bit, was a little bit weak. Coming in now, bomb coming from Joey, taking down a low finally, and Masuj. So red team, as soon as they approach, they're immediately losing people. Unforgiven gets a stab onto Hyphens, and Joey Lemons will indeed die. So this looks like it might go red team's way, and with the kill onto Blake, it's time for the blue team to probably just run forward at this point, which they've done before. The red team not getting on the point, kind of afraid of potentially dying here to the aggression from the side of the blue team, but it's just DT. It is just DT, so they're finally able to get on the point after a little bit of hesitation, not losing too much time. They really want to make sure all their players respawn. They will finally go ahead and just only sacrifice Black to go ahead and get most of their team spawned up. They do have the crits ad to work with. It's not a surprise to anyone. They've been on it the whole time. And blue team, I mean, it's time to drive. You really got to go fast, otherwise this crits could just end up wiping your team. Never mind.
Oh my God, Jacob!
Scrim is dying, as all means there's not a whole lot of firepower here for the red team to even work with. So blue team just caps it up immediately. Bomb coming in from Black. They are dropping like flies as they surge in, and blue team holding on strong.
What a stab from Jacob, recognizing and I'm sure calling it as well, getting the pressure from Joey going in for the high bomb, getting the rest of the USA to walk across point, and just goes in for that decloak, goes zooming around the cliff, and gets the stab onto the medic. Connecting that knife was huge.
Yep, Jacob definitely put in work visibly a lot so on the side of Protest. Sax goes in, they get a stab on a DT, probably not what they wanted, but they'll take it. Trying to find the way onto Blake, does not hit the Surf Black, landing on his head as well, so the second one impossible to go through, so they go ahead and do their sack wave, only losing 2, maybe 3. KKM will burn out, Legion needs an arrow. We'll be able to receive it from now. Blue team trying to go for it. Lenny will end up dying, so Scrimmage able to take away that one for his team as Melon on top of the point. They've gotten a lot of cap time. Butter knife from Unforgiven to take down Joey Lemons as they're just running forward now. Chris comes out. They want to make sure they're able to take down everyone they possibly can. They're able to take down Blake in the meantime, and they've lost a lot. Triple once again behind somehow, unable to find kills that time. He's just looping around the map at this point.
Triple's just materializing at this point. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I respect the method, but USA now with 50 seconds left, or excuse me, 50 seconds left on the side of Poland, US with 27, as US is starting to press here, but Scrimus is going to get the nice shot onto Lenny, and it's going to be tough for them as well with the crit ad from Poland. US are going to have to do something if they want to try to aggress this.
And they lost Jacob as well. They know they have to aggress this before, not 1, the crits comes in, 2, you can't just let Scrimmage take shot after shot after shot. Able to take down Melon. It's actually red team that's running forward though, despite them having the sniper advantage and the crits advantage, and I think that play kind of surprised the blue team and they did not expect. And for any reason for Poland to run forward, that is enough to surprise them, and it allows them to go ahead and prevent the cap from going into overtime. So I mean, I mentioned before that Team Poland has not really yet had a moment where they're able to lead a whole lot on the clock. And while this is, once again, not one of those moments, it could be something even greater, a win. However, they are stuck on crits. They do have to wait 20 seconds, and the Uber is almost ready for the side of the blue team. The only thing is they don't have Jacob to call for them on where the sniper is, where they're positioned. Lenny, a little bit alone on the slope, needs to hit this shot first. Team Uber comes through instead. A lot of damage on him, trying to air blast it, unable to. Able to die to a pipe. Joey Lemon is giving up his life, though. They've bought a lot for space here as the crits goes off, but there's no target. Blank, able to kill the target. Sam running forward. The cap time is immense. If they cap, they can pretty much win this overtime for the in favor of the red team. 4v4 scenario in favor. Oh, Melon getting the 2k1 reflect on the black. Melon running forward, able to get the kill on the heavy. Zhao with the saw trying to block the cap from going their way. They have respawn advantage. Jetpack Pyro coming in as the first death earlier on. Joey Lemons trying to kill, will not succeed. Masuj with the reflect, better ping, reflects DT back as well. They're holding down the fort despite the respawn disadvantage. Blue team still trying to make things their way. Blank needs an arrow, will not receive it for now, is fine. They're getting the cap time, don't have overtime quite yet. Snipe onto Zhao. Red team, they're unable to clutch it out, and Team USA locks them out greater and greater throughout the game, taking Prodigy as well to move on to the grand finals.
What a round. I mean, Poland really giving it their all in the last one, and that was so close. I mean, they were thriving in that chaos, and I mean, as well with killing Blank, no less. But just US able to pull it out with such smart play on their cap time, and when they're able to send players behind. I think it was just a very solid showing from both teams, but USA were, I would say, deserving of the victory here.
Yeah, there was a lot of improvement from both sides in the beginning, and then I think USA kind of clutched out at the end for the most part. Despite this being the closest round near the end, there was a lot of misplay, I think, that was easily visual coming from the side of Team Poland. And I will say, I think this map, not just because it was Koth, I think the fact that it was more compact and smaller made it easier for Team USA. I feel like, especially with my own personal experience, the way that they would play, for the most part in general, would be very much heat of the moment type stuff, where they wouldn't necessarily make a play too concrete beforehand, and they would kind of go off of how the situation progresses and just go on the fly based on what needed to happen. And that's much harder to do on any sort of larger map, regardless of its Koth or payload. So going to probably the most compact in the pool potentially definitely bodes well for them to allow everyone to be ready for whatever may happen whenever it's time to go in. People aren't all the way far back and not in a poor position unless they're literally spawning at that moment. So I think that definitely showed a lot as we can take a little bit of a look at the stats here.
Immediately looking at the logs, Triple with the top kills going 364 DPM. I mean, that is incredible for, especially on product where Sniper can be so dominant and just shut down a heavy. Triple being able to do that and being able to recognize, in those moments where he can get through and make these like crazy plays, like that is incredible. But of course, it's not just like, one-off crazy plays where you kill a medic or whatever. It's that Triple's consistently getting these kills and not taking as much damage either. So letting letting DT and Melon and Blank take all the beam pretty much. Triple had only 12% heals. So I'm really impressed from just how well Triple did considering those conditions.
Yeah, I would say he's definitely a bit of a silent hero. Just besides the fact that somehow he looped all the way into Poland spawn and got behind them that one time. But for the most part, like a damage negative heavy, happens sometimes. But the fact that he's able to not die crazily from it, and he's able to make sure he cleans up kills, means his positioning was pretty good and his timing was pretty good. That's all you can really want. You don't want your heavy to necessarily be the star of the show all the time. And he, at least visually, and Triple definitely showed the impact that he can have despite not being super flashy. When he's not going for the very obvious flashy plays. I was going to say that I feel like another kind of silent hero for the side of Team USA that helped them push themselves to victory probably was Jacob, as a player that is going to do a lot of the heat of the moment calling for them. Just anytime they spot something weird they might be able to take advantage of that a spy can only see, they'll kind of make that call. And it's difficult to pull that off on a payload map sometimes because not everyone's ready, and the time it takes for everyone to aggress across a long stretch of area to get where they need to get, can stagger you a bit. But on product, it kind of made things a whole lot more fluid for them. And I think that's what kind of made it so that they didn't have too much of a sketchy time until the end where, the crits came out and you kind of had to, adapt as quickly as possible to that.
For sure. And I do want to as well say that Lenny with 495 DPM, I mean, I think that's what we
the
come to
obvious
expect
one.
from Lenny at this point. But it's still just incredible to see. Just, I don't know, man. There's something about Lenny. And
He
I'm
showed
saying
up
that as
to
a
play.
compliment, not a cheating accusation.
No, he definitely showed up to play, did what he needed to do, going crazy. For the most part, I think he was I don't have the logs themselves, so I looked up, so I can't see the actual SVS. But from my memory, for the most part, he seemed pretty dominant in a lot of the more important scenarios where it's like, oh, you need to hit this or it's kind of over. I feel like most of the mid fights have set the pace for the game and allowed those like forward holds to come up potentially. Were mostly led by kills on Discrimus from Lenny. So definitely high impact, which you expect from product sniper, but still it needs to be said. It's kind of the baseline.
For sure. On that note, I believe we're just about wrapping things up here. USA will go on to face England, I believe, in the grand final tomorrow. So please watch out for that. I believe it'll be on the Chriscast channel, so be sure to tune in for that. Again, USA versus England. That'll be a hell of a match.
Definitely.
Any shoutouts for you, Jarrett?
Definitely shout out to all the players for playing. Wouldn't be able to cast all these games if they weren't participating and putting in their best effort. So it's always fun to see, everyone giving it their all, even if it's not necessarily a league game. There's still some fun national pride at stake, and it's always fun to see more Highlander in general, regardless of the circumstances. And definitely shout out to both you, Gray, and you, siyo, for having me hop in to cast last second. It was a lot of fun.
Awesome. For me, I will shout out. Let's see. I'll shout out Flu Walrus because Flu Walrus let me roster on the USB team, which was very cool. I will shout out, of course, all the players today. I think both Poland and USA really. I mean, there was just some excellent play from both teams. I was so impressed to see that. And then I guess just shout out the US team, especially for being able to win this and go on to the grand finals. And I'm going to be cheering for you guys tomorrow.